Okay, so today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing integers. We know integers are positive and negative numbers, and we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing. We've already been doing this on our warm-up, so this is just a review to remind yourself the difference between adding and subtracting rules and multiplying and dividing. So when you're multiplying and dividing, you follow the triangle method, where you say a negative, and you cover it, times a negative is a positive, because that's what's not covered. A positive times a negative is a negative. Okay, a negative times a positive is a negative. So we use the triangle method of covering up, and what's not covered is the answer. And we also already know that a positive times a positive is a positive. Now this works for multiplying and dividing. So let's do a few multiplying examples. So negative 3 times positive 12. So if I use my triangle method, it's a negative times a positive, so left over would be negative. And then we multiply like normal. 3 times 12 is 36. Okay, a negative times a negative equals, well, I cover up a negative and I cover up a negative, so it's a positive. So positive 12. Okay, positive 4 times negative 7. A positive times a negative. I go up here and I go a positive times a negative, and so I have left over a negative. So I have a negative, and then 4 times 7 is 28. I always write down my sign first, because if not, I forget to put it, like if I write 28 first, I'll just move on and be like, cool, got the answer. So I always put the sign first, because I won't ever forget to put an answer. I always forget the sign. Okay, and then 8 times 12, well, we already know that this is 96. And it's the same thing. Don't get confused. You already know what a positive times a positive is. You've been doing it since 3rd grade. Now, this is the same thing for division. I have a positive divided by a negative. So the positive is, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Okay, the next one is negative 24 divided by 3. Well, a negative divided by a positive is a, look, you use your triangle method, a negative. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, a negative divided by a negative. You'll also see it like this, where especially in the second number, sometimes also in the first number, but especially in the second number, that there's parentheses. The parentheses are there just to hold that negative next to the number, so you don't get confused and think it might be subtraction. It doesn't mean, in this case, it doesn't mean multiplication, because there's that division sign. So you know, if there is no sign in between, that's how you know it's a division. Or it's a multiplication problem. Here it has a division sign, so that means those parentheses are just holding it together. So negative divided by a negative is a positive, because we know a double negative is a positive. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then we have a positive divided by a positive is a positive. I don't have to put the positive sign, but it's okay if I do. And then 50 divided by 2 is 25. Okay, so right now we've just gone over how to multiply and divide integers. It is different than adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting, you use the part of your war method. Subtracting, you either use part of your war, or you do these or you do the double T method before doing the part of your war. And then with multiplying and dividing, you use the triangle.